Although I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas, this podcast is not therapy and should not be used as therapeutic intervention. Many of the products and practices mentioned are for educational and informational purposes only. Should you need support, please seek appropriate, qualified, and licensed professionals. Hey y'all, welcome to Between a Hot Mess and a Therapist, the podcast where we navigate the murky waters between what society expects and what it means to truly live, embrace the messiness, the beautiful chaos of life, and celebrating the rebellion in the process. Whether you're a recent graduate, a seasoned therapist, or someone just curious, there's something here for everyone. But before we dive in, make sure you join the Hot Mess Rebellion community where you can connect to other like-minded souls. I'm your host, Shauna Lovin, a seasoned therapist and wellness educator with a very rebellious spirit. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's rebellion. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Between a Hot Mess and a Therapist. So today's topic is just really centered around some thoughts and an experience that I had more recently. I just kind of wanted to bring it to the table for y'all today. So sometimes we feel like we are doing everything possible in our life, in our practice, working with clients and everything that we do. And we're just not seeing the growth. We are not seeing what could be. We're not seeing the future. We just see where we are currently and we feel like it's just not working. I just want to let you know that sometimes the universe is working on your behalf, even though you don't even see it. Let me explain. Let me give a little context to this. So if you didn't know, I started my counseling practice this time in 2017. So towards the last quarter of the year in 2017. I did not really start working with clients per se when I first started. I was actually working with associates because I was already a supervisor. I was late to the punch because I got licensed, I became a supervisor, and then I didn't do anything. I was just working. And so in 2017, or right around that time, the job that I had, we had to make these goals for what do we want to do? And they always wanted you to incorporate your personal life type goals or things for you personally, not just work. And so one of the goals I had was actually starting a private practice. And my supervisor at the time, I don't know if she listens to my podcast, but she's the reason that I actually did do it. And because that was just her encouragement of me, you should go and do this and take care of this because this is what you want. And so in November of 2017, I officially started my practice. And then that following January, I had my first associate. At the time, they were called interns, but now they're associates. And it's just amazing to see that over time, I really was just working with associates for a long time. I didn't really start seeing clients until maybe 2020 when everybody was going to counseling during, COVID. But working with the associates is its own thing within itself. But I had this calling back in maybe 2019 that I wanted to grow kind of outside of this box. I didn't want to do the traditional one-to-one counseling kind of model, maybe did groups, this or that. I wanted something more than that. I wanted to be outside of the box. And so I started trying to take on some coaching, working with other supervisors, just to try to figure out hey, what do I want to do? Where do I want to take this? At the time, I was just having so much conflict with myself about trying to move past or trying to move out of what society expects of us versus what was pulling at my heartstrings and what I wanted to do. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about what that looks like. I probably mentioned it in one of my first few episodes of like kind of where I see myself. But so if you haven't, go back and listen to that. But there was just this pull between what society wants and what I wanted to do. And like I said, I tried, since 2019, I've tried quite a few coaches and probably spent way too much money in trying to figure out how to make this work. And then there's just, maybe because for part of it was like, well, is it the clients that I'm working with? Is it the type of clients? There was the back and forth of I'm working with first responders and helping professionals, and I'm working with just therapists, and then I'm working with like reproductive trauma kind of stuff. And there's this pull and push of who am I working with? So I don't know if it was just the mix of communications. Now that I found out my human design, that's just me. Like I just like a lot of different things. So enough about that. And so trying to just figure out like what did I want to do for myself, there's just all these answers that I had to kind of come up with. And the other piece that pisses me off in some ways is that everyone else around me had an overflow of clients and I was not getting any referrals. And my practice, even to this day, is not really where I want it to be. It's growing, it's better, but it's not where I want it to be. And so I have to really look at what is underneath all that. And maybe I'm just still, at the point I just wasn't aligned. And, what do I do about becoming more aligned with who I am actually called to work with? Because I do have very different interests, but yet they're the same is the crazy part about it. And so I think finally the universe is working in my favor. I am seeing the growth and the direction because several months ago, maybe sometime earlier this year, maybe more than several months, I made a decision to start incorporating alternative practices in my own clinical framework. And yes, I got books. Yes, I looked, for the training, and yes, all these things. But when I made the decision of not just looking at the trainings and reading things, but actually made the decision of incorporating it, OMG, I realized that I have not been aligned all this time. Not at all. Not in the least. And so I decided to take one last coaching person or coach to really help me integrate on my alignment and help my business look like it's on alignment. And so I'm really excited on how things are going to finally start speaking the language that I've been trying to say for years, how my website is going to look, and express again what I've been trying to say for years. And it's amazing on how clear I am now than I have been since 2017, 2019. And this came up for me the other day, or everything kind of like made sense for me maybe about a week before this recording. Like, it just made sense. Where, backstory, I had this china cabinet in the storage. And, my husband and I had moved to Texas from Illinois back in 2008. And for a little while, I was using the china cabinet in our space. And it was a cabinet that belonged to my great aunt on my mom's side. She was like this older, fashionable lady where, she grew up in a time where you didn't leave the house and you were just not dressed, but she was like the lady wearing the furs, and she liked to have parties. And she had all these glasses and dishes, and this china cabinet was in her house for years because it's like 1930s, 1940s cabinet. And she's had this cabinet in her house for years. But when my aunt passed away in 2005, we inherited a lot of her stuff. And for a long time, I had the china cabinet and the buffet, but I couldn't get rid of this daggone china cabinet. Even though I liked it, it just really wasn't my style. It served its purpose when I needed it, but it wasn't my style. So this cabinet has literally been sitting in storage since 2017. Like, what is the coincidence of when I started my practice and how long this cabinet has been in storage? 2017. And my husband's been like, we need to get rid of this storage unit. And I've been trying to sell it again, trying to get rid of it, trying to do all the things. Nothing. It wasn't moving, wasn't budging, nothing. And then so about a week ago, I get a message for the china cabinet. Now, mind you, it's at a rock bottom price. It's heavy ass wood. And if anyone knows anything about wood, a little TLC, it will be brand new. Like, that's just how good they made furniture back then. So I get this message about this cabinet, which I thought was weird because I haven't had any. This woman says, hey, can we come and get the china? Can we come buy the china cabinet? There wasn't any exchange about like, is it still available? Can I come? It was none of that. It was, I'm coming to buy the cabinet. Can you meet me tonight? Sure, I can meet you tonight. We go. She shows up with like her business partner, I found out, their husbands. And like, you know, they needed the husbands to move it, but they were picking up furniture in different areas because they were trying to furnish their shop. And I'm like, okay, cool. And they instantly fell in love with the cabinet, instantly. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. So in conversation, as the boys are moving the china cabinet out and getting it loaded onto the truck, the ladies are opening the very first metaphysical shop here in our little suburb, our little town outside of a big major city. It's the first. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, that's amazing because I'm into all that kind of stuff because that's the alternative practices that I love and I like. And so it just felt to me like this was a good place for this china cabinet to go because it's been a part of the family for a long time, even though it's been in storage. And I was happy that it was going to a great home and it's going to be proudly displayed for these women in their shop. And so I started telling them like, yeah, you know, I want to incorporate, you know, alternative practices and like human design and blah, blah, blah into my work. And they were really excited to kind of hear about that. And so this brief exchange about a freaking china cabinet basically was a confirmation that I am moving in the right direction with the universe. The universe said, hell yes, here's your little nudge that you need for confirmation on, yes, you are doing the right thing. And so I kind of bring this up because, you know, in the last few weeks leading up to this exchange, I had been getting all these messages and downloads about like, stop trying so hard and the universe does the work for you and make sure you live your strategy according to human design. Lean into my uniqueness. Like these were the messages I've been getting for weeks. And then this happens with the china cabinet. And so if you're feeling like you don't know where you're going or what direction you need to be in, take a moment and sit with yourself, drop into your body. What is the universe and your body telling you? Because it's already speaking. Sometimes is that we just don't listen to what it tells us and we ignore it, or we're too busy trying to figure out like, what is the next thing that society expects of us? Instead of doing that, drop into your body, listen to what your body is telling you, And what is the universe? What are the nudges you're getting from the universe, or the hints or the messages you're getting from the universe? Put those two things together and you'll know if you're on the right path or not. If you are in your stomach and it says yes, or an inkling of yes, you're on the right path. If it tells you hell no, then I think you need to take the next exit. So I just wanted to kind of bring this up today because sometimes things are working in our favor behind the scenes and we don't even really know it. We don't even realize it. I'm really excited that now my aunt's china cabinet is going to be proudly displayed in this metaphysical shop, and I can't wait for their opening at the beginning of November. It just seems so fitting because it's November 1st. So, but I'm planning to go by and make sure that I take pictures and really connect with these ladies, and maybe we will somehow start to become more a part of each other's lives as we move forward in the future. But the message today is check in with yourself. Make sure you are trying to figure out how you can live outside of the box that society, as our profession, has already told us. I hope you found this helpful today. Until next time.
Thanks for joining today's rebellion with me. Remember, it's okay to be a hot mess sometimes. It's all part of the journey. Until next time, stay rebellious, stay authentic, and keep embracing the beautiful messiness of life. Don't forget to join the Hot Mess Rebellion community where you can connect with other like-minded souls. And anything mentioned in today's episode will be linked in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe, you share with a friend, you leave a review, and you keep coming back for more. This podcast was brought to you by Healing Roots Wellness and Botanicals. For more information, please visit healingrootswab.com.